Hi there, in this video I'll be breaking down how I created this creepy forest ambient sound effect. I'll be showing you all the layers that I used and the techniques that I used to create each sound, so that you can go ahead, learn what I did, and then apply it to your own sound so you can create your own version, your own creepy forest ambient sound effect. Alright, so with that said, let's get into our project. Alright, so here we are inside of Reaper, and as you can see here, for my project, I actually have it separated kind of into two categories, if you will. Up here, I have my sound beds that kind of last throughout the entire duration of the clip here, the duration of the ambience. And then down here, I have all of my creature sounds. So let's start with the sound beds up here, and then let's go walk through one by one how I created them, and then we'll go into the creature sounds. All right, so the first sound that I wanted to create was a kind of creepy tonal wind sound that made it feel like you're in a forest. So if we have a listen to it here. That's the sound right there. And the way that I created that was actually all inside of Faceplant here, and I used my voice as the sound source for this sound file, for this sound bed. And what I did is I was basically kind of whistling and humming or ohing through the microphone. So I was doing a sort of like, so I could have some sort of tone to my voice and also have this kind of airiness to the sound. And that's what I imported here into this file. So if I take all of the stuff off here and I just play it here. Right, you can kind of hear my voice in there. I mean, I know it's not exactly accurate because it's inside of a granular generator right here, but you get the idea. So that's what I did. I put it into here, and let me just quickly walk you through the patch so you can get an idea of what I used to create it. So the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of scrub throughout this entire sound file because it's a longer file, and I wanted to have more variation and the sound of air coming in and out, and maybe tones like when I was kind of whistling or half whistling, kind of also coming in and out. Right, so I kind of combined and crossfaded different clips, different takes that I made together to make this long file, and then I want to scrub through it. So that's what I'm doing here with this LFO down here. I'm just going through all the way into the file and then back. So that's what I'm doing here. Next, I have this random LFO here, and what this is doing, it's also being applied to this start position so that whenever I press on my keyboard, any key on my keyboard, it's going to start at a different position. As you can see here, the bar keeps moving around. Right, so it's never going to be the same. Every time I'm going to play it, it's always going to be a little bit different, so that it's never the same, right? So I'm always going to get a new different sound every time I play on my keyboard. So that's what this is doing down here. Okay, next, I just added a filter here. I just really want to cut out the lows. I don't want it to sound boomy or anything like that. And yeah, so that's what this filter here is doing. For the envelope, obviously, I have a really slow attack and kind of a long release at 2 seconds. Right, it's just so you don't get like a pop or a punch or anything like that. Next, let's look at some of the effects here that I use. I had a bit of gain, this to bring up the volume. A filter here, this just to cut off the high. So if we play it with it on. Right, I didn't want any of that kind of high-end hissiness. It's way too harsh. And then I even did a bit more here with this other filter. And what this filter is actually doing, it's being applied, it's being modulated with the other random LFO here, which is kind of bringing it in and out. So this is kind of, it's just adding more variation to this sound here. So if we play with it off. Right, you can see here where my tonal kind of peak is. It's around, I don't know what this is, but it's like halfway through, so it's probably around, I don't know, 1,000 or 1 kilohertz, something like that. So I'm kind of like cutting it in and out so that it really adds a lot of variation to the sound. It's never kind of always in your face. Right, after that, it's just a matter of putting it in a space, and I did that by using a dual delay here, and I actually did that with all the other patches. So as I'm going to show you, you're going to see dual delay pop up quite a bit here. Right, it gives this sense of space and reverb, kind of all baked into the sound. So that's how I created this patch. Pretty simple. You can do it yourself. After that, I created an optional patch here, and this is the sub cinematic patch. It sounds like this. Right, it's a very tonal sound. So if we listen in context here. You could also take it out. right? So it's a really optional sub layer. And the way that I created that, again, was inside of Faceplant. And here I did a similar thing where I used my voice, again, to create the sound. So if we take off all of our plugins here, let me just show you what it sounds like. So if I play it like that, you can clearly hear that I was just like oohing into the microphone, just holding a tone, a note, and that's it. And that's what I was that's how I created this sound. And now what I did is I added a chord here just to add sustained fourth. And what I ended up doing is just pitching it down. What was it, like an octave or two? And that's how I got this really low sub bass sound. After that, it was just a matter of adding some effects. So here you can see I added some reverb and again, dual delay. So if we play it now. I added a filter here just to cut out some of the highs again. A chorus to add some movement. After that, it's just a matter of just shaping the sound a little bit and balancing it out with the gain just to bring it up a little bit. And then slice EQ, this was just to bring out some of the resonant peaks that I was hearing in the sound file. And that's it. And that's how I got this sound here. And just in terms of plugins or effects here, you can see I'm using a bit of a EQ, a low shelf here, just to control a bit of the subs. And same thing with Sooth 2 here. I'm doing the same thing because there's kind of 2 or 3 different peaks that are kind of coming in and out throughout the file. So because of that, because it's a granular file and it's kind of always changing over time, yeah, that's why I was using this to kind of control those peaks in the file. And that's it. All right, so together now, this is what we had. So we're getting this creepy dark ambience vibe. That's great. It's a good start. After that, this one was insects, and this I actually had to get some recordings done for this. So this was basically just insects that I recorded at night, and that does make a difference if you do day versus night because they do sound different and they do act different. So yeah, this is a recording I got at night. Sounds like this. I'm just gonna take off the EQ here. And what I did with the EQ here is I just cut out everything that was below like 600 here. So I did a really aggressive shelf. And the reason for that is because these insects, the only purpose that they're really serving here is the high end. Like I don't need anything in the sub. I already have the layer for that. I don't need anything in the tonal winds, which is already kind of in the mids to low mids. So I don't want this to kind of clutter the mix. I just want to have that high end so you get the feel of the insects in there. So that's it. It's a really simple kind of patch. And after that, this is what we get. All right, so now with that in place, let's move over to some of the creature sounds that I created, and we'll break those down. So most of the creature sounds that I actually have in here were recorded and designed with my voice, or just things that I have around my house, and I'll show you those. The one that I didn't, though, was this crow sound effect, and this I actually recorded, and I got kind of lucky because one morning I just had a crow right outside in my backyard that was just there, and it was just like barking or making noise for a long time, so I was able to I had time to go get my recorder, come out, and actually just record it. It didn't go away or anything. It just kept going for like a long time. So I was able to get this nice recording. If you don't have that, though, it's pretty hard to replicate a crow or to do some sort of crow sound. But this is an actual crow sound, so let's have a listen to it right here. And all I did here is, I think I had already cleaned it up just in RX before I even put it into my project here. I don't think I'm doing anything with this denoise. No, I am. Yeah, so I learned the sample to get some noise out because, as you can hear, it's very, very noisy. And I just want to have the bird, nothing else. So that's what that's doing there. After that, I just position it with recenter and then just balance it out with the gain here. Okay, so that's that one. Let's not spend too much time on that because, if you don't have it, it's not a big issue. Okay, these ones are kind of fun because all of these are different sounds that I actually recorded and made myself. So let's have a listen to how I created these ones. So this is the first creature here. All right, so let's have a look at how I created that. Here you can see this is the patch that I use, and you can see I labeled it as a frog. I was trying to create a frog sound, and if you hear it, it sounds like this. Right? And the way that I did that was with my mouth. I basically took a frog recording, I pitched it down, listened to it, and see if I could replicate that low pitch sound with my mouth. If you want to see kind of the way I did that, I have a video about it, how I did that with bird sounds, and basically I did the same process. So I'll link it up above in the cards if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But yeah, so basically I pitched it down, and it sounds kind of like this, my original voice. Right, so that's just my voice. That's just me using my voice to do this kind of sound. And then when I pitch it up, now you get this like this froggy sound. It didn't really work out, so actually what I did is I pitched it down instead, and now I get this creepy like this weird creepy tremolo sound. So again, as you can see here, I added the dual delay just to position it in the environment, and that's what I use for all the creature sounds. So they kind of all use the same settings, so they all feel like they're in the same place. And that's it. After that, it was just a matter of playing different pitches here. So you can see here, I have one pitch. Here's another one. Right, and that's how I created that sound. All right, let's have a listen to this next creature sound here. All right, and let's see how I created that here. So again, here you'll see the dual delay. I'm just going to take that off for now. Let's have a listen to what this is. So that is the original recording, and what it is, it's a recorder, and then I was basically doing like a flutter tongue with the recorder, and that's it. And then when you pitch it down 2 octaves, I think I went down even lower, 3 octaves maybe. And that's it. And then I just added dual delay, put it in the position. That's how I got this. All right, so that's that creature sound. Let's go to our next one over here. Sounds like this. It's like maybe some sort of wolf or something like that type of sound. All right, let's see how I created that one. So again, you'll see a similar thing here. Take off dual delay. Let's have a listen to the recording. So again, I have another flute or recorder or something like that I was recording with, and that's it. Just pushed it down, and that's how I got that sound. Added the delay. That's how I got that. So flutes, recorders, any kind of thing that whistles. You can even whistle with your hands or do like a cupped hand whistling technique if you can. Any of those will work well for these kind of like tonal sounds. So that's how I created these 2 tonal sounds. All right, let's go to our next one here. It's kind of like this creature growl sound. Let's have a look at what I did here. So here it is. This is, again, I was trying to create a frog sound. All right, so here is what the, like close to what the original recording source was. And you can hear I was trying to replicate, again, like I said before, I took a sample of a new frog this time. This was a different type of frog or toad or something like that. And I pitched it down until it got to like around the range of my speaking voice. And then it sounded kind of like this, like bow. And that's what I did here. So that's what that sound is. I added a bit of distortion here and some EQ to bring up some of these frequencies here. Right, so that's what that is. And after that, it was just a matter of pitching it down quite a bit. And if I do that, that's how I got this growly sound. Right, so that's another technique that works really well, getting creature sounds, pitching them down to a place where they're within your vocal range, and then try to replicate that range with your own voice and then pitch it back up or pitch it down from there to get these other creature sounds. All right, let's go to the next creature sound here. All right, so this one I was really happy with. It kind of sounds like some creaking trees or something like that, and it's not that at all. If I actually open it, here's the patch, and what you can see is I actually used a kazoo to do this. It's just like a really cheap plastic, like $1 or $2 kazoo that I had bought from like the dollar store or something like that. And yeah, that's it. So if I listen to like the original recording of it, it sounds like this. Right? I think I was trying to mimic some sort of like duck or something like that with the kazoo. And then when you pitch it down an octave or 2, it sounds like this. and 3 octaves. Right, you get these really nice creaky sounds. So that's how I created this creature over here. All right, let's go to the next one here. All right, let's see how I created that one. I think it was a similar thing here. Yeah, it's even in the same file. So the previous creature here was just at the beginning of the recording. Here I did some different takes, and I just basically did the same thing here. So if we listen to this one, what it sounds like, right? It's just a kazoo, and then I just pitched it down quite a bit. Same technique here. All right, let's go to our last creature here. This is the one here. Let's have a listen. All right, so here is the patch for this one. This one, I think I was trying to mimic an owl sound that I had pitched down. So if we listen to this one, right? So this one kind of sounds like I was doing 2 different recordings, like one with like a flutter tongue through like a flute or something like that, and then one where I was just kind of humming or something like that. Right, so that is the sound. I added a filter here, cut out some lows, and then just a reverb to place it in a room instead of the dual delay this time. I'm not sure why I did that, but that's what I did here. And then I pitch it down. You get this cool sound. Now, I'm not sure exactly how I had recorded that. I might have actually used a plugin, like a granular plugin, to get this sound. I don't really remember, but I think it was the same technique, same idea, where I pitched down an owl sound. Kind of this thing. I might have added some effects on it to tweak it up a little bit, and then I put it into here, and then I pitched it down a lot. So that's how I created these creature sounds. Now, I was creating all these creature sounds in this creepy ambience forest that I was making. One of the techniques and tricks that I learned that worked really well, and I wanted to show you here, is using these contact microphones. So I have these 2 contact microphones, and what I was doing whenever I was recreating these creature sounds, one of the tricks that I found worked really well is to just put these on like directly on your throat, on your vocal cord, kind of like this. And then as you're recording them, you can record both into the microphone like this, but then it'll also capture your performance inside of these contact microphones, and you can get some really cool sounds that way. It's kind of a bit more natural. You don't get as much of the highs in there. So it's just another way that I found works really well for creating and recording these creature sounds. So if you have some contact microphones, experiment with that. It's really fun and it works pretty well. All right, if you like this video and you found it useful, I think there's another one you're gonna like. It's one where I basically deconstructed a whole lava ambience sound effect, kind of similar to this video, but all about lava and fire sounds and stuff like that. So if you're interested in seeing that, I'll make sure to put it here on the screen somewhere. And if you have any comments, questions, leave them down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.